unreal. The WWE documentary on Netflix, how it turned me as an MMA fan who hated wrestling for several years now, kind of interested again in WWE. How crazy this documentary is in this video. Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA.
Salam alaikum, my brother.
Wow, Netflix really nailed that. So Netflix made a documentary about the WWE similar to the documentary last year from Roku, if you remember, about the UFC. I just have to say the Netflix documentary is like 5 times better and more detailed and all of that, but it's a similar concept, right? Where they kind of show you the behind the scenes, what goes into making these shows happen, what goes into all of the whole product, right? Which is something that always interested me because look.
Here's the thing, you guys.
I was a wrestling fan when I was a kid. When I was, I'm butchering this, 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe until I was like 8, 9 years old. I was a huge wrestling fan. I watched, of course, back then you didn't really have YouTube or something like that, so you couldn't really watch those things. Did we have YouTube? I'm not sure, I don't think so. I remember I used to watch, I had a friend that was a little bit older than me. He was like 13 years old and I was like 8 or something. He was a weird guy, but he had wrestling CDs. And I was never allowed to watch wrestling at home. My parents would never allow me to. And he had those CDs or DVDs or whatever you want to call it. And we used to watch them at his place, like kind of secretly. And I was so shocked by it all the time. I remember there was a guy, I remember to that day, there was a guy that was wearing that farmer shirt. How do you call that? That Ariel Helwani always wears those things. I don't know how you call that in English. There's a word in German for it, but I don't know how you call it in English. But if you translate it from German, it's kind of like tree chopper shirt.
What the fuck is that?
He was wearing that. He had a beard, a brown long beard, and brown long hair, I believe, curly. I have no idea what his name was, but I remember that's what he looked, and he had a baseball bat with a wire around it, right? And he hit a guy so many times with it, I thought the other guy died. I back then did not know this was fake. I was so mad at the guy. I was in front of the TV like, how is this legal? How can this happen? I was out of my mind. I was like, how is this happening? I hate that guy and all of that. Like wrestling was real for me back then. I was a big fan of Rey Mysterio, the tag team with him and Batista. I was a huge fan of them. I was so mad and sad when they broke up and they had their feud and all of that. I loved John Cena. I hated Randy Orton. But all those guys, like, I was so into that. I loved it, right? We were walking around with our Rey Mysterio masks and all of that. I remember one friend of me had a Rey Mysterio mask and we always used to fight over who is allowed to wear it and fight with each other and all of that. It was so fun. But then once I got a little bit older, I was just like, I'm not interested anymore. And since I watch MMA, I always looked at wrestling like kind of like, what is this fake nonsense? Why would I watch 2 people fake fight with each other when I can watch real fights? Like, why do you watch that? You have to be a little kid to watch that. I was really kind of hating on it for some while, even though guys like The Rock and all of that, I love those guys.
Love you, brother.
I was like, you know what? When I saw the documentary, I of course saw more and more WWE over the last years because of the whole TKO group, right? TKO group, the parent company that now has the UFC and WWE under one house, under one umbrella. So you obviously got to see more and more for WWE as well. When I was at UFC X last year, watched the vlog, there was a WWE shop there or whatever that was there as well. I did not care at all. I was even hating on it in the video, I believe, so go watch it. But when I saw the documentary coming out and people talking about it, I was like, you know what? That actually sounds kind of interesting. Seeing like the whole behind the scenes, how is it really happening there? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch that. So I tuned in, I watched the first episode and I was like, damn, this stuff is so interesting. And there's 5 episodes, I watched all 5 of them now. And I gotta say, I'm really interested in wrestling again. I have so much respect for Triple H and his whole crew, how they structure those shows, how much effort, thought processes and all of that goes into making those storylines. And by the way, I have no idea anymore who's who.
Who?
who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. I don't know most of these wrestlers. I now know Cody Rhodes and this Yeet guy, or whatever his name, Oos, I think is his name, or something like that. I know them now, Rhea Ripley from the documentary, but I still have no idea. But I'm really interested in watching a show again, because how they make all those things that even if you're a hardcore fan, you still get surprised all the time and you never know what's coming. They keep those secrets. It's so impressive. I can only recommend you watch that show. It's so impressive to see. And even for a guy that is not into the WWE like me or like I was, it can make you a fan.
Fanboy!
It's really interesting, and you see how much effort goes into the athletes as well, like how stressed out they are, how tough that sport is on their body. And at the end of the day, it is a real freaking magic, and I respect them so much for being able, first of all, they take a lot of punishment, because some things you just cannot stage. They take a lot of punishments. They have so many injuries all the time. They keep fighting, like Rhea Ripley, whatever her name is. She completely tear her shoulder apart and all of that, but kept wrestling because a surgery would take too much time off and all of that. Like, I respect those guys so much. And it was really interesting to see how they sit with each other backstage and then they just turn on the act and hate each other in the ring. And it's still interesting to me how they do their stunts, like how they, I think Hulk Hogan once explained on the Joe Rogan Experience, how they hit each other. They hit each other for real, but they kind of hit each other in a way where it does not really hurt. It's so interesting, the science behind it. I would love to see a more detailed documentary about how they do all those stunts, if they really bleed, if there's fake blood.
Now I'm blooding.
I'm still confused by some things of it, but it's so interesting to see. It's crazy how much effort goes in from the whole production team, especially Triple H. I think this guy doesn't even sleep. I would love to just send him 2-3 years to the Maldives and let him relax or something, but what a workhorse. All the athletes, how freaking dedicated they are, and also how tough this game is. Some of them, this Chelsea Green girl, you saw with her, they don't really know if they're gonna be on the show unless they're the big stars. They don't know if they're gonna be on the show until like sometimes 2 days before and all of that. Like, they have to be ready, on demand, in shape, healthy, ready, and they never know when their next job is gonna come. Like, they never know when their next show is gonna be. They never know if they're even gonna be in the show anymore in the next 1 or 2 years, if they get cut and all of that, because they don't decide their fate themselves. The storyline decides their fate. If the storyline seems like, okay, the fans don't like you as much, we probably have to make you lose all the time and all of that, you can't even do anything about it. You can be the best wrestler ever. If the people don't like you, they don't like you. So it's really, really interesting to see. I have so much respect for all the wrestlers now. I really, really respect those guys. And I used to not really respect them. I always thought, like, what the hell are they doing? Just go fight. But yeah, I really, really respect everyone behind the scenes, on the scenes, all those guys. And I gotta say, I'm really interested in watching the WWE again. With all those surprises, even during the series, I was like, oh my God. When I saw Brock Lesnar now coming out against John Cena, I was like, oh my God, it's so interesting to watch. It's like a movie that just keeps going on. I completely understand if you still do not like wrestling, if you're still not into it, I completely understand it. But I really recommend to you, just take some hours out of your life and watch this documentary. You will at least find a newfound respect for those guys, and maybe, like me, you become a fan again. If you're a fan already, write your favorite wrestler in the comments, you guys. Write all your thoughts about the documentary in the comments. Like this video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Would appreciate that. Check out the merch. Check out all the links in the bio. Stay bloody, you guys. Until the next one. Bye-bye. Bloodsport out.